Okay, good morning. Sorry for a slightly delayed start. So we resume our reading of Anubhavatmak Adhyatmavad, bilingual version, Hindi and English. In English, the title is Realization Centered Spiritualism. And so far, we have covered pages up to 67, and today we will continue. We will read ahead of that. We'll move forward. Okay. So here we are. So if you were in the last session or if you saw it on YouTube, in the last session we started chapter number 5, and name of the chapter 5 is Bondage and Liberation. Okay, so straight away Babaji came to the point here. And he presented 6 questions and then gave some pointers towards how to think about those 6 questions. And by the end of the session, those 6 questions, the author has relisted them for ready reference. So I'll just read it out here and then we'll continue from today's content. So right from the beginning of this chapter, there are 6 questions on the topic of bondage and moksha. Okay. Moksha is, generally similar to a concept of salvation in Christianity. Of course, there will be differences, but generally, I am saying, and it is being called liberation also, mukti also. So the questions are, which is the reality that remains in bondage? Okay, when we talk about bondage, what exactly is that which is in bondage? Which is the reality that puts in bondage? Okay. Which is the reality that liberates? So if there is something in bondage, something which is keeping or putting it in bondage, then we are talking about liberation. So who is that entity? Who is that reality which assists in liberation or which directly liberates? Then the fourth question is, as a reality, where are all these 3? Okay, the reality which is in bondage, the reality which is putting in bondage, and the reality which is liberating. So these are possibly 3 different realities. Where are all these 3 realities? We look around us, can we identify these 3 realities? Okay, this is what Babaji is pointing out. The 5th question, the one which keeps in bondage, why does it do so? Okay, so the question number 2 was, which is the reality that puts in bondage? Okay, so one is we identify that reality, and the 5th question is we identify its motive also. I mean, what does it get by putting someone in bondage? And then the last question is, what is the purpose of the one who was in bondage after liberation? Okay, so in the previous session, Babaji has discussed that humans want liberation. Okay, and but they feel they are in bondage. So once those who are in bondage, they get liberated, what is their purpose? What are they supposed to do? Okay, so these are the 6 questions which Babaji has framed, and I think if we move at reasonable speed in today's session, Babaji is giving answers also to these 6 questions. Okay, so as is our format, one of you can read the Hindi and English part, one paragraph at a time, and then we'll discuss it. So I'll just, yeah, one moment. So there is just 2 or 3 paragraphs, and immediately after that, Babaji is actually starting giving 2 answers. Yes, please go ahead, Ganesh bhai.
ओके, थैंक यू। जागृति के अनंतर ये देखा गया है, अस्तित्व में ही अभिव्यक्ति है। दूसरे भाषा में अस्तित्व ही संपूर्ण अभिव्यक्ति है। सह अस्तित्व स्वयं अनंत रचना के रूप व्यापक सत्ता में संपृक्त है। ऐसे रचनाओं में से एक रचना ये धरती है। इस धरती जैसी अनेक धरती हैं। इस धरती में जो 4 अवस्थाएं अभिव्यक्त हुई हैं, ये अस्तित्व में थी ही, इसलिए इस धरती पर व्यक्त हुई। इस धरती में जो कुछ भी अभिव्यक्तियां समाई हुई हैं, उनकी कार्य विधि, स्वरूप विधि, रचना विधि इसी धरती में समाई थी। इसलिए चारों अवस्थाओं की अभिव्यक्ति स्पष्ट हुई है। इस विधि से भी स्वाभाविक रूप में परमाणु ही व्यवस्था का मूल स्वरूप कार्य रचना है। यह तथ्य स्पष्ट हुआ। इसके साथ यह भी निश्चय होता है, विघटन और विखंडन विधि से व्यवस्था का स्वरूप और कार्य सूत्र निष्पन्न नहीं होता। इसलिए गठन, संगठन, रचना के लिए द्रव्य की आवश्यकता बना ही रहता है। इसलिए विरचना परंपरा होना स्पष्ट है। ऐसे विरचना प्राकृतिक है। आगे भी कंटिन्यू करूं भैया?
जी भैया।
ठीक। It has been seen in the state of awakening, it is in existence itself that the expression occurs. In other words, existence indeed is the complete expression. Coexistence in itself is in the form of countless compositions submerged in omnipresent omnipotence. This planet is also one such composition. There are many such planets in existence. The four orders which appeared on Earth already existed in existence. That's how they manifested on this planet too. It became clear that all the manifestations which appeared on Earth, their way of working, way of manifestation, way of composition, that is design, already existed and were contained in this planet. That's how the emergence of the four orders occurred on Earth. In this manner, this fact got corroborated that the atom itself is the fundamental unit, activity and composition of orderliness. With this, a conclusion emerges that the true form and working, that is basic principles of orderliness, does not become clear by way of disintegration and fragmentation. For every constitution, formation and composition, raw material is always needed. Thus, the tradition and role of deformation and decomposition becomes clear. All such decompositions are natural.
Thank you, Bhaiya. Thank you, Ganesh Bhai. Just one moment, when I was reading it, that all expressions are in existence itself. Okay. So Babaji framed these questions, and now he's again sort of giving a perspective of coexistence. He's saying something about coexistence and then shifting to the questions. Okay, so some 2 or 3 paragraphs are about coexistence. We'll read them as Babaji has written. It has been seen in the state of awakening that all expressions occur in existence itself. In other words, existence indeed is the complete expression. Okay, in Hindi it was written, जागृति के अनंतर यह देखा गया है. जागृति के अनंतर मतलब after the point when awakening has occurred for a person, which the author himself has claimed that he is in that state. तो जागृति के अनंतर यह देखा गया है, अस्तित्व में ही अभिव्यक्ति है. That all expressions occur in existence itself. दूसरे भाषा में अस्तित्व ही संपूर्ण अभिव्यक्ति है. In other words, existence is indeed the complete expression. Expression is indeed the complete expression. So when I look at this sentence, basically whatever we are expressing is about the existence itself. Whether I talk about myself, or I talk about the other person, or I talk about everyone at large, generally speaking, including everyone. I'm talking about society, talking about economic system, or I talk about the whole planet or the or the solar system or the galaxy, whatever we talk about, even when we talk about the state of mind, our own state of mind, my feelings, those feelings are also in existence only. Okay, so where are they? Where are the feelings? Feelings are also in coexistence. So all expressions occur in coexistence or in existence, and existence itself is all that is the content of expressions. Whatever we can talk about whatever exists in existence. Okay, this in Manav Vyavhar Darshan also, Babaji has mentioned there is a, if I remember right, there is a sentence something that we cannot imagine something which is not in existence. So this is just our to sort of strengthen our concept of coexistence, our avdharana of coexistence. We are in coexistence. Our feelings are also in coexistence. Jivan is also in coexistence. Body is also in coexistence. When body dies and decomposes, whatever remains is also in coexistence. Everything was always in coexistence, is in coexistence, and will remain in coexistence. The four orders of nature are inseparable from coexistence. Okay, this is just getting reconfirmed here, reaffirmed here. Coexistence in itself is in the form of countless compositions, infinite compositions submerged in the omnipresent omnipotence. This planet is also one such composition. There are many such planets in existence. Okay, this is self-explanatory. Okay, just Babaji is taking us away from the room in which we are sitting and giving us a perspective of the whole existence. Okay, which I personally found very interesting and enlightening and thought-provoking. Whenever Babaji has mentioned it, and Babaji has mentioned it enough number of times, so that our attention goes to this. Otherwise, if we do not have the complete existence in our mind, then we actually start living only in the environment in which we think we live. Okay, it could be my country, it could be my city, it could be my family, it could be my business, it could be my neighborhood. So in delusion, by misunderstanding, one confines one's area of activity, one's area of understanding to a limited environment. The author is trying to expand that mindset to the infinite, to the whole existence. Okay, this is I think the what is the purpose behind whenever Babaji is saying this thing. आगे भी पढ़ते हैं. This is one paragraph only. It is just for the ease of reading and ease of translation to match Hindi with English, that I subdivided it to smaller sections. The four orders which appeared on earth already existed in existence. इसको हिंदी में देखते हैं. इस धरती में जो चार अवस्थाएं अभिव्यक्त हुई है, ये अस्तित्व में थी ही. इस धरती में जो चार अवस्थाएं अभिव्यक्त हुई है, ये अस्तित्व में थी ही. The four orders which appeared on earth already existed in existence. That's how they manifested on this planet also. It became clear that all the manifestations which appeared on earth, their way of working, way of manifestation, way of composition or design, already existed and were contained in this planet. That's how the emergence of the four orders occurred on earth. हिंदी में भी देख लेते हैं इसको. इसलिए वे अस्तित्व में थी ही, इसलिए इस धरती पर भी व्यक्त हुई. इस धरती में जो कुछ भी अभिव्यक्तियां समाई हुई हैं, उनकी कार्यविधि को रखा वे ऑफ मैनिफेस्टेशन. स्वरूप विधि, वे चार चीजें शायद लिखी, नहीं तीन चीजें, कार्यविधि, स्वरूप विधि, रचना विधि इस धरती में समाई है. तो कार्यविधि, स्वरूप विधि, रचना विधि, इसको कहा है देयर वे ऑफ वर्किंग, way of manifestation, and way of composition or design already existed, धरती में समाई ही थी, इसलिए चारों अवस्थाओं की अभिव्यक्ति स्पष्ट हुई है. That's how the emergence of the four orders occurred on earth. Okay, so practically what I think is that whatever developments or the so-called developments humans have made, and for example, humans have made laptops, humans have made clothes, or we cook so many things in the kitchen. So what Babaji is trying to say is, in a logical way, like the provision for making of these things already existed. Okay, if that provision did not existed, there is no way we could make delicacies in the kitchen, or we could make laptops, or we could make mobiles. That provision existed. It was that how you put together those things, in what manner, in what would be their design. Once humans figured it out, they could do it. So the provision existed. Okay, so once that example is understood, what Babaji is saying is here that similarly for the emergence of four orders on this earth, all the provision existed. Okay, there is some law behind emergence of these four orders, and that law existed, and whenever there was conducive circumstances, one by one, these four orders in a consecutive manner, in a sequential manner, they appeared. Material order was already there, then biological order or plant order, then different species in the animal order, and then the human order. Wherever in this coexistence is there a planet where similar conducive circumstances are there, there also the four orders will appear in a similar manner. Okay, this is what is being said here. दोबारा पढ़ना चाहें तो पढ़ लें. The four orders which appeared on earth already existed. When I am explaining it, my language would become provision for their existence already existed in existence. Provision for their emergence and continuity always existed in existence. That's how they manifested on this planet. It became clear to the author that all the manifestations which appeared on earth, their way of working, way of manifestation, way of composition or design already existed and were contained in this planet. That's how the emergence of the four orders occurred on this earth. In this manner, the fact got corroborated. Okay. इस विधि से स्वाभाविक रूप में परमाणु ही व्यवस्था का मूल स्वरूप कार्य रचना है, यह तथ्य स्पष्ट हुआ. किसको स्पष्ट हुआ? ऑथर को स्पष्ट हुआ. In this manner, this fact got corroborated that the atom itself is the fundamental unit, activity and composition of orderliness. का मूल स्वरूप है, मूल कार्य है, मूल रचना है. With this, a conclusion emerges that the true form and working or basic principles of orderliness does not become clear by way of disintegration and fragmentation. ये जो लिखा है विघटन और विखंडन विधि से, विघटन और विखंडन विधि से व्यवस्था का स्वरूप. Okay, so this Babaji has written in other books also, including Jivan Vidya Ek Parichay, that the way science works is like trying to break down everything and get a small part of it, then break it down further, then break it down further, and eventually trying to reach a point where what is the basic material by which this thing is formed, to understand that. This is the science, the principle of science, Vigatan or Vikhandan Vidhi, and disintegration and fragmentation. So what is being said here by the author is, with this a conclusion emerges that the true form and working or basic principles of orderliness do not become clear by way of disintegration and fragmentation. For every constitution, formation, and composition, raw material is always needed. इसलिए गठन संगठन रचना के लिए द्रव्य की आवश्यकता बनी ही रहती है. Thus, the tradition and role of deformation and decomposition becomes clear. What is the role of deformation and decomposition? विरचना का क्या पर्पस है? So that new compositions can also take place. So new compositions are formed, they mature, eventually they break down, they decompose, they again become raw material for future compositions. So compositions and decompositions, they are ever continuous in the material world. Okay? It is the consciousness world where in the Jivan element that the decomposition does not happen. Otherwise, in everything else, composition and decomposition keeps on happening. And it is not to be seen in negative form also. It is for the continuity of coexistence. If decompositions did not happen, eventually we would run out of material for the future compositions. So decompositions play a constructive role in that sense. So thus the tradition and role of deformation and composition becomes clear. इसलिए विरचना परंपरा होना स्पष्ट है. All such decompositions are natural. है ना? ऐसी विरचना प्राकृतिक है. So, although we read it in detail in line by line, I think to grasp the essence of the paragraph is more important. Any comments? I'm through.
It's very
Through
beautiful.
with this.
Yeah,
Ji
very
Devi.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, everything sounds good to me. So
Good. Devai, Divya, anyone else?
Good, sir. Like looking forward to read the next one to see like
Yes.
how those 6 questions are now getting
Yes.
answered through this description.
Yes. Okay. So if there are no comments, we'll move forward. Okay, so let's take the next section to one full page for ease of reading. ये कौन पढ़ेंगे?
मैं पढ़ देता हूँ सर.
जी.
परमाणु में गठन ही गठन पूर्णता और उसकी अक्षुण्णता निरंतरता क्रम में चैतन्य इकाई जीवन पद जीवनी क्रम जागृति क्रम और जागृति को अभिव्यक्त करने के लिए ही सतत कार्यरत है. गठन पूर्णतावश जीवन नित्य होना ही चैतन्य पद की मौलिक स्थिति और गति है. रासायनिक भौतिक द्रव्य रूपी वस्तुओं में से के लिए रचना विरचना मौलिक कार्य हैं. संपूर्ण द्रव्य और रासायनिक भौतिक द्रव्य विकासशील विकास क्रम में कार्यरत रहना भागीदारी करना और सार्थक होना देखा गया है. भौतिक वस्तुएं अपने अपने परमाणु प्रजाति के अनुसार त्व सहित व्यवस्था के रूप में व्यक्त हैं. प्राणावस्था भौतिक रासायनिक रचना के रूप में त्व सहित व्यवस्था के रूप में व्यक्त है. संपूर्ण जीव संसार जड़ चैतन्य के सहअस्तित्व में जीवनीय क्रम विधि से अर्थात वंशानुक्रम विधि से हर प्रजाति की जीव प्रकृति वंशानुषंगीय विधि से त्व सहित व्यवस्था होना और मानवत्व सहित व्यवस्था होने के लिए जीवन जागृति आवश्यक रहे आया है. अभी तक मानव नाम से इंगित वस्तु की सार्वभौमता को पहचानना ही शेष था. अस्तित्व मूलक मानव केंद्रित चिंतन विधि से यह संभव हो गया है. Constitution in atom is persistently active for constitution completeness, and in course of its ceaselessness and continuity, the sentient entity is persistently active for the expression and manifestation of Jivan plane, living world progression, awakening progression, and awakening. Eternality of Jivan due to constitution completeness is indeed the unique state and activity of the sentient plane. Composition decomposition is the unique activity in, of, and for matter in the form of physiochemical objects. All matter and physiochemical objects have been seen to be development oriented and active in participating in and meaningful in development progression. Physical objects manifest themselves according to their respective type of atoms as orderliness with essence. Entities of the biological order manifest themselves in the form of physiochemical objects as orderliness with essence. All species of the animal order as coexistence of insentient and sentient by way of living world progression manifest themselves as orderliness with essence. Necessity of Jivan awakening has always been there for orderliness with humaneness in humans. It is only the universality, in the bracket commonality, of the entity called humans, which is yet to be recognized. This has now become possible with existence-based human-centered contemplation.
Good. Thank you, Divya. So again, I think although we will read it line by line, it is essential to get the sense of this paragraph. So again, Babaji is re-emphasizing what he has mentioned already at many places, that there are 4 orders on this planet: material order, biological or plant order, animal order, and the knowledge order, which is humans. Now, in all the previous 3 orders, the material order, the biological order, and the animal order, we see Tva Sahit Vyavastha. Okay, so the Tva Sahit Vyavastha is that entity belonging to that order, it has a role and it plays that role also. We do not have to give a specific education to that, or we do not have to train them, or we do not have to show them how to do it. It naturally happens. Okay. It is in the knowledge order only that an exception is there, that their appearance has happened on this earth, their emergence has happened on this earth in a natural manner, but their participation, their role in the overall existence or on this planet, that they are confused about, that they are not clear. That is what is called the state of delusion. So their participation is actually negative as far as deluded tradition is there, or deluded humans are concerned. So although they are not living with their twa, or their essence, their role which is defined in existence. So what is being said in Madhyas Darshan, mentioned in Madhyas Darshan, is if we understand our role, naturally we want to fulfill that role. This is the purpose of education. When we are teaching a child, educating a child for the first 20 years, if we can draw attention to the role of human beings on this existence, okay, in the family, their usefulness and complementariness, okay, what they are supposed to do for themselves, what they are supposed to do for the family, what they are supposed to do in society, what they are supposed to do on the whole earth. Okay, if this clarity is there, I mean, this is basically what is being said is awakening. Okay, then humans also would be living with their essence. So right now, the other 3, the entities belonging to other 3 orders, they are living with their essence. Humans are not living with their essence. Emergence for all the 4 orders, it has happened naturally, but humans are found wanting as far as the living part is concerned, as far as the participating part is concerned. This is the essence of the paragraph. Okay, so when we read it, we can remember that this is the essence. Constitution of in atom. So now Babaji is, as he always does mostly, he begins with the atom itself. That the atom is the fundamental unit of orderliness. Okay, so there are a few particles in an atom, and they are working in a systematic way, okay, in a predictable way, in a well-defined way. Okay, they do not behave randomly. Okay, this is what is called orderliness. So constitution in atom is persistently active for constitution completeness, and in the course of its ceaselessness and continuity, the sentient entity is persistently active for the expression and manifestation of Jivan plane, living world progression, awakening progression, and awakening. So here what is being said is that Vikas Kram and Vikas. So development, progression, and development. So initially we have atoms in which number of particles is increasing or decreasing. That is called development progression. Then a point comes when some atoms move on to the next place, which is the sentient entity, where they become liberated from this activity of giving or taking particles. Okay, so their constitution becomes not changing. Okay, it does not change after that point. This is being mentioned here. Constitution in atom is persistently active. हिंदी में भी देख लेते हैं, परमाणु में गठन जो है वो गठन पूर्णता और उसकी अक्षुण्णता के लिए है ना, जो भी गठन हो रहा है, गिविंग और टेकिंग ऑफ पार्टिकल्स, दैट इज फॉर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन कंप्लीटनेस. And in course of its ceaselessness and continuity, the sentient activity is persistently active. The Jivan atom is persistently active for expression and manifestation of Jivan plane, living world progression, awakening progression, and awakening, which is actually the whole existence. So the sentient entity, the Jivan, wants to understand everything and express the whole thing also. So the sentient entity, the Jivan, is persistently active, making endeavors for this. Eternality of Jivan due to constitution completeness is indeed the unique state and activity of the sentient plane. It does not happen in the material order. In material order, changingness is there. Okay, so the continuity or eternality of Jivan is the uniqueness. Composition, decomposition is the unique activity in, of, and for the material order. Matter की जगह material order करना ठीक रहेगा. For the material order in the form of physicochemical objects. All matter and physicochemical objects have been seen to be development oriented and active in, participating in, and meaningful in development progression. संपूर्ण द्रव्य और रासायनिक भौतिक द्रव्य विकासशील, विकास क्रम में कार्यरत रहना, भागीरत रहना, सार्थक होना देखा गया है. तो ये तीन चीज आई, कार्यरत रहना, भागीदार रहना, सार्थक होना. इसको लिख रहे हैं एक्टिव इन, पार्टिसिपेटिंग इन, एंड मीनिंगफुल इन डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्रेशन. Physical objects manifest themselves according to their respective types of atoms as orderliness with essence. Entities of the biological order or the plant order manifest themselves in the form of physicochemical objects as orderliness with essence. All species of the animal order as coexistence of insentient and sentient by way of living world progression manifest themselves as orderliness with essence. Okay, this is what we discussed earlier. Babaji is saying these three, the entities belonging to these three orders, they are in orderliness with their essence. Necessity of Jivan awakening has always been there for orderliness with humaneness in humans. So humans will be able to live in orderliness with essence only when they are living with humaneness. So for humans, humaneness is their essence. है ना, इसको विद इन कोट्स लिखा है, हिंदी में भी मानवत्व, है ना. तो मानव जो है वो मानवत्व के साथ ही व्यवस्था में होगा. ह्यूमंस विल बी इन ऑर्डरलीनेस ओनली विद ह्यूमेननेस. ह्यूमेननेस इज द एसेंस ऑफ ह्यूमंस. इट इज only the universality or commonality of the entity called humans which is yet to be recognized. Okay, what is that is common in all humans? Okay, so science has seen the physical attributes which are common. All of us have eyes. The functioning of eyes follows a law. All of us have a heart. The functioning of heart follows a law. Kidney, every part of the body. So the physical part science has understood, but the aspirational part, the Jivan part, the sentient part, that science is not able to fathom. So it is only the universality or the commonality of the entity called humans which is yet to be recognized. अभी तक मानव नाम से इंगित वस्तु की सार्वभौमता को पहचानना शेष था. अस्तित्व मूलक मानव केंद्रित चिंतन विधि से यह संभव हो गया है. This has now become possible with existence based human centered contemplation. Any comments, any observations, any questions?
All good, Bhaiya.
Yeah, no comments from me.
Mhm. No comments means the sense is getting communicated, na?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward and it's a good job
Yes,
explaining.
yes. ठीक है, आगे बढ़े. Move this page. Yeah, I think this is the last paragraph, after which we move to the answers to the questions. कौन पढ़ेंगे इसको?
मैं पढ़ लेती हूँ भैया.
जी दीदी, जी दीदी.
मानव परंपरा में हर संतान अथवा हर मानव कल्पना सहज स्वीकृति के रूप में जागृति को वरना देखा गया है. हर मानव रूपी वस्तु हर स्थिति हर गति के प्रति जागृत होना चाहता है. हर संबंधों को पहचानना चाहता है, जागृत होना चाहता है और इन सबके मूल में सुखी होना चाहता है. इस क्रम में इंद्रिय सन्निकर्षण विधि से सुखी होने के लिए तमाम विधियों को अपनाते हुए संग्रह सुविधा के चक्कर में आदमी फंस गया. संग्रह विहीन स्थिति में व्यक्ति अपने को निरीह अकेले पाता है. संग्रह के आधार पर ही भोग अधिभोग का आस्वादन किया जाना मान लिया गया है. फलस्वरूप संग्रह का आवश्यकता और विस्तार उसके अनुकूल शोषण प्रवृत्ति कार्य तरीके तैयार होते गए. बंधन के व्यवहार रूपी को इसी स्वरूप में देखा गया है. हर कार्य और तरीके के मूल में मानसिकता यानी कि आशा विचार इच्छा का होना स्पष्ट है, सुस्पष्ट है. जीवन ही मानसिकता के रूप में कार्य करना स्पष्ट है. It has been, Spencer, you want to read the English part?
Sure. Yeah. It has been seen that every child or every human being in human tradition has acceptance in their imagination for embracing awakening. All humans want to understand everything that exists and everything that is happening. They want to recognize all relationships, want to become awakened, and at the root of this, want to be happy. On this course, while attempting to become happy by sensory gratification in diverse ways, humans got trapped in the cycle of accumulation and comforts. And if devoid of accumulation, they feel helpless and alone. It is a strong belief that consumption and overconsumption on the basis of accumulation is the way to enjoyment. As a result, accumulation became more and more prevalent, along with the tendency to exploit and innovative actions and methods aligned with all this. This is how the practical form of bondage has been seen. At the root of all actions and approaches, the presence of mentality, hopes, thoughts, desires is explicit. It is clear that it is Jivan indeed which acts in the form of mentality.
Okay, good, Shilpa Didi, good, Spencer. So, like what is happening here is that before coming to the answer to the question, Babaji is bringing all the relevant material here so that when we talk about the answers, the readers have just read the relevant parts again so that, like their content is revised. So that is the sense here. I mean, that is my conclusion, that why the flow has been structured in this way. So it has been seen that every child or every human being in human tradition has acceptance in their imagination for embracing awakening. Okay, awakening is like we want to understand. So every human being or every child in human tradition actually wants to understand everything around them. If they do not understand something, they become nervous. All of us, even in deluded tradition also, have figured it out. That whenever we are not able to understand something, we are confused, we are nervous, we are anxious. Okay. So we are relaxed when we are sure about how the things will happen around us, or what is the principle by which things happen around us. So this is like they embrace awakening. They embrace understanding. This is what is being said here. All humans want to understand everything that exists and everything that is happening. हर मानव रूपी वस्तु हर स्थिति हर गति के प्रति जागृत होना चाहता है, हर संबंधों को पहचानना चाहता है, want to recognize all relationships, जागृत होना चाहता है, want to become awakened, और इन सब के मूल में सुखी होना चाहता है, and at the root of all this want to be happy. On this course, while attempting to become happy by sensory gratification in diverse ways, humans got trapped in the cycle of accumulation and comforts. इस क्रम में इंद्रिय सन्निकर्ष विधि से सुखी होने के लिए तमाम विधियों को अपनाते हुए संग्रह सुविधा के चक्कर में आदमी फंस गया. संग्रह विधिहीन स्थिति में व्यक्ति अपने को निरीह अकेला पाता है. If devoid of accumulation, they feel helpless and alone. So two things. One, they want to become happy. So they want to become happy by sensory gratification, and then they get trapped in the cycle of accumulation and comforts. So if they actually attain success in this accumulation and comforts, then also still they are trapped. And there will be a class which we so-called call below poverty line, or the poor people. If they are not able to reach that stage of accumulation and comforts, they also are not happy. Those who achieve success, they are also not happy. And those who do not achieve success, they are also not happy. Okay. So here is the first part. They get trapped in the cycle, and if devoid of accumulation, they still feel helpless and still भी लिख सकते हैं. They still feel helpless and alone. It is a strong belief that consumption and overconsumption on the basis of accumulation is the way to enjoyment. संग्रह के आधार पर ही भोग अतिभोग का आस्वादन किया जाना मान लिया गया है ना. सारा सुख जो है वो accumulation से ही होगा. All happiness, all enjoyment, all fun will come from accumulation. Okay, this is a strong belief. All of us can review in our own life and families also. These are good pointers to, time to time evaluate all this. As a result, falsuru, accumulation became more and more prevalent, along with the tendency to exploit. We want to accumulate, and by let's say fear means it is not possible, then whatever needs to be done by hook or crook, okay, by whatever means, those endeavors are seen in society, and innovative actions and methods aligned with all this. Okay. All underhand payments, all favoritism, all that, different innovative ways people are trying to achieve it. Or even many places I heard the phrase, it is getting institutionalized also. Okay, so it is not individual efforts, they are institutional efforts also. And at some places it would be national efforts also, that as a country we want to have accumulation, so let us go out and exploit the other countries. Okay, so innovative actions and methods are getting aligned with this. It has all been seen in human history, and it continues. बंधन के व्यवहार स्वरूप को इसी स्वरूप में देखा गया है. This is how the practical form of bondage has been seen. One is in this bondage of accumulation and comforts. And although it is not mentioned here, the prime reason is that humans have not really understood themselves, that they are a joint combined form of body and jivan. So as long as you consider that I am only the body, then you need all the physical objects for the body. This is the basic delusion. Okay, so here it is said, this is how the practical form of bondage has been seen. At the root of all actions and approaches, the presence of mentality. Now, what is the mentality? Hopes, thoughts, and desires. Asha, vichar, ichha. यहाँ जो आशा विचार इच्छा लिखा है, this is hopes, thoughts, and desires, is explicit. Okay, now that Jivan part Babaji is saying here, कि all the actions or methods or innovations which humans are applying, behind that there is asha vichar ichha, ye hopes, thoughts, and desire. This is explicit. Let us not forget this. जीवन ही मानसिकता के रूप में कार्य करना स्पष्ट है. It is clear that it is जीवन indeed which acts in the form of mentality. So far, these three paragraphs which we have read today, it is a revision of what we have already read in Madhyas Darshan. Any comments, any observations here? Any questions, any comments on translation?
No, Bhaiya, it's like in simple language, and translation is also very easy to understand. So it's flowing very well. Like, as you said, it's recapping everything
Yes.
that we have read previously. It's very nice, very interesting.
Shall we move forward?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we come to those 6 questions which in the beginning of the chapter, today's session, we again read. Now the author is going ahead with explaining or giving clues to the answers also. Okay, so let us see what was the first question. Which is the reality that remains in bondage? कौन पढ़ेंगे?
I can do it, भैया.
जी.
Okay, first, वस्तु के रूप में कौन सी चीज है जो बंधन में पड़ा रहता है? भ्रमित जीवन ही बंधन के रूप में अपने को 4 विषय 5 संवेदनाओं को राजी करने के रूप में व्यक्त करता है. यही मानव परंपरा में मानसिकता का अर्थ है. जीवन में मन, वृत्ति, चित्त, बुद्धि और आत्मा अक्षय बलों के रूप में कार्यरत रहना और आशा, विचार, इच्छा, रितंबरा और प्रमाण अक्षय शक्ति के रूप में कार्यरत रहना स्पष्ट हो चुकी है. Which is the reality which remains in bondage? It is indeed the deluded Jivan which manifests itself in the form of bondage while trying to gratify the instincts, quad, and the 5 senses. In human tradition, this is the meaning of mentality. It is already clear that in Jivan, Man, Vritti, Chitta, Buddhi, and Atma remain active in the form of inexhaustible strengths and hope, thoughts, desires, resoluteness, and evidence remain active in the form of inexhaustible powers.
Okay. So a very short answer, but crisp and to the point. भ्रमित जीवन ही बंधन के रूप में है. It is indeed the deluded jivan which manifests itself in the form of bondage. Okay. So which is the reality which remains in bondage? It is the deluded jivan which remains in bondage. The body may be free. Okay. The body may be free. So we have seen in the last century actually a lot of freedom struggles. Okay, all over the globe. So when I look in context, what I think is in those freedom struggles also people want liberation, people wanted freedom. There they were physically also not liberated. They were physically also not free to do what they wanted to do. Right now, what we see is after the freedom of so many countries in the last century, physically the countries are free, physically the people are free, but still that feeling of bondage comes to us in our day-to-day living. So it is the deluded jivan indeed which manifests itself in the form of bondage. Yeshari, the body is not in bondage or in chains. It is the jivan which is in bondage and deluded jivan. Okay? It is in the form of bondage while trying to gratify the instinct squad. Instinct squad is Vishay Chatushtay. Eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. If the mind is preoccupied with these four elements, then this is bondage. And the five senses, indriya sukh, sensory gratification. So sensory gratification and the four instincts or instinct squad. If the mind is preoccupied with getting gratification from these things, then this is the deluded jivan, and this is what gives the feeling of bondage. So when we have to now we can see the feeling, let's say the jigsaw puzzle, the pieces of jigsaw puzzle falling in place. So far, what was being said traditionally or in spirituality along all the streams on this earth is there is someone else who will liberate you. Now, what is being said in this paragraph is it is you yourself who can liberate yourself. Okay? My body is driven by my jivan. This jivan is in delusion, due to which I feel in pain, I feel in suffering, I feel anxiety, I feel nervousness, I feel left behind, I feel unsuccessful, I feel unhappy. Okay. Now, I want to get out of this feeling and I want to remain continuously happy. What is being said by the author here, or let's say proposed by the author here, is there is not someone else, some superpower who will liberate you. It is you who can liberate yourself. कैसा लग रहा है? I get a feeling of liberation as soon as I read this. Okay. In human tradition, this is the meaning of mentality. Okay, what we talk about mindset, it is the mindset itself which keeps us in chains or bondage. It is the mindset itself, by right application of it, we can awaken ourselves, we can develop our understanding, and then we feel liberated. So it is already clear that in Jivan, Man, Vritti, Chit, Buddhi, and Atma remain active in the form of inexhaustible strength and hope. Thoughts, desires, resoluteness, and evidence remain active in the form of inexhaustible powers. So the tools are also available with us. These are inexhaustible powers. How much soever we may use them, they will not diminish, they will not we will not run out of them. They will always be there. They are inexhaustible. So the tool is available with us. Okay, whatever we need to achieve a liberation, that is available with us. In very beautifully 4 lines, this first question is answered. कौन सा चीज है जो बंधन में पड़ा रहता है? Which is the reality which remains in bondage? It is the deluded jivan which remains in bondage. बताइए.
I think we need to put a comma after the word strengths. Otherwise, because these are two separate clauses.
Yes.
putting there.
You are right. Actually, there are so many commas already. I do not mind putting a semicolon here.
Or maybe full stop and then start A with capital. start the next word with it.
Okay, let us read with semicolon first. It is already clear that in Jivan, Man, Vritti, Chit, Buddhi, and Atma remain active in the form of inexhaustible strengths, colon, and hope, thoughts, desires, resoluteness, and evidence remain active in the form of inexhaustible. I'm good with this.
Okay.
सेंस कम्युनिकेट हो रहा है देव भाई? मतलब द आंसर टू
हाँ जी,
द
हो रहा है, जस्ट दैट वो सेमीकोलन का पर्पस
ओके,
थोड़ा डिफरेंट होता है।
ठीक है, ठीक है। तो एक काम करते हैं, फिर कर ही लेते हैं, कर ही लेते हैं।
या फिर वेयर एज लगा सकते हैं।
वेयर एज से शुरू कर दें क्या?
नो नो, हाँ मतलब स्ट्रेंथ्स के बाद वेयर एज।
ओके, नॉट नॉट दी फुल स्टॉप, ऐसा कह रहे हैं?
वो तो बेस्ट है, वो तो सबसे अच्छा तो कॉमा है, देन सेकंड प्रेफरेंस आई थिंक वुड बी फुल स्टॉप एंड देन स्टार्ट एंड विद a capital A। वो सही थोड़ा सा इनफैक्ट
एक्चुअल में ना वेयर एज जो है
स्प्रिट भी
ऐसा
हो
लगता है
जाएगा।
कि दे टू डिफरेंट डायरेक्शंस, बट हियर द डायरेक्शन इज द सेम। आई
हाँ,
मीन मन
राइट राइट।
So why are you saying for semicolon? Why is it not appropriate? Dev bhai?
राइट, सो स्टॉप एंड देन स्टार्ट एंड
Hmm.
बताइए।
हाँ, सबसे सही तो यही लग रहा है, मुझे तो यही लग
ये
रहा
ठीक, ये इतना ठीक लग रहा है अभी?
है जी।
ठीक है, वो कॉमा के बिना तो मतलब आई रियलाइज दैट वाज नॉट गुड
वो एक फ्लो
अभी।
में पढ़ा जाता है। हाँ जी।
जी, राइट राइट, थैंक्स फॉर पॉइंटिंग इट आउट। ठीक है, सो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन हैंडल्ड। ओके, वी गो टू द सेकंड वन। पढ़िए, कौन पढ़ेंगे? दिस ऑल्सो इज एक्चुअली वन पैराग्राफ ओनली, फॉर ईज ऑफ रीडिंग आई हैव सब डिवाइडेड इट।
आई कैन कंटिन्यू आई थिंक।
जी, आप पढ़िए।
ओके, पॉइंट 2, वस्तु के रूप में कौन सी चीज है जो बांध कर रखती है? उत्तर में यही मिलता है कि कोई वस्तु अस्तित्व में ऐसी नहीं है जो जीवन को बंधन में डालती हो। अस्तित्व स्वयं ही सअस्तित्व होने के कारण नित्य व्यवस्था, सहज प्रेरणा सूत्र है। जीवन जागृति के अनंतर व्यवस्था में जीने की संभावना हर मानव के लिए समीचीन है। इससे स्पष्ट है, जीवन लक्ष्य रूपी जागृति और जागृति पूर्णता के पहले जो स्थिति, गतियां, आशा, विचार और इच्छा, प्रिय, हित, लाभ, भय, प्रलोभन और आस्था और इनके संयोग योग से जितने भी कार्यकलाप होते हैं, ये भ्रम रूप होना देखा गया है। यही बंधन है। अनुभव रूपी सअस्तित्व में प्रमाण मानव चेतना, देव चेतना, दिव्य चेतना क्रम है। Question 2, which is the reality which keeps in bondage? The answer we get is, there is nothing in existence which puts Jivan in bondage. Existence is process of inspiration for orderliness. In the state of awakening of Jivan, the possibility to live in orderliness is available to all humans. It is thus clear that before achieving the goal of Jivan in the form of awakening and awakening completeness, the state and motion, hopes, thoughts and desires, perspectives of pleasant health and profit, fear, temptation and faith, and all the activities in their permutations and combinations, all of them have been seen as delusion. This itself is bondage. Human consciousness, deific consciousness, and divine consciousness. This is the progression of evidence of realization in coexistence.
Good. So second question, which is the reality which keeps in bondage? First is which is the reality which is in bondage? Okay. So which is imprisoned. Second is who is the jailer, who is keeping it in prison. So here it is saying there is nothing else which keeps in prison or in bondage. It is the delusion itself which keeps in bondage. Okay, तो इसको पढ़ते हैं. The answer we get is there is nothing in existence which keeps जीवन in bondage. Existence by virtue of being coexistence. अस्तित्व स्वयं ही सहअस्तित्व होने के कारण नित्य व्यवस्था सहज प्रेरणा स्रोत है. Is a continuous source of inspiration for orderliness. In the state of awakening of जीवन, the possibility to live in orderliness is available to all humans. सो इससे स्पष्ट है कि जीवन लक्ष्य रूपी जागृति और जागृति पूर्णता से पहले की जो स्थितियां हैं, उससे पहले, बिफोर द अवेकनिंग और अवेकनिंग कंप्लीटनेस, वॉट एवर दैट इज हैपनिंग, विच इज लाइक ये प्रिय हित लाभ, आशा विचार इच्छा भय प्रलोभन आस्था और इनके योग संयोग से, इनके योग संयोग मतलब by different permutation of combinations, whatever models of living we have figured out or deluded human tradition has figured out, all that is delusion. है ना. जितने भी क्रियाकलाप होते हैं ये सब भ्रम रूप होना देखा गया है, यही बंधन है. तो इसको इंग्लिश में देख लेते हैं. It is thus clear that before achieving the goal of जीवन in the form of awakening and awakening completeness, the state and motion, hopes, thoughts and desires, perspectives of pleasant health and profit, fear, temptation and faith, and all the activities in their permutations and combinations, all of them have been seen as delusion. This itself is bondage. यही बंधन है. अनुभव रूपी सह अस्तित्व में प्रमाण मानव चेतना, देव चेतना, दिव्य चेतना क्रम है. Human consciousness, deific consciousness, and divine consciousness. This is the progression of evidence of realization in coexistence. Okay, so two questions handled. One, what is in bondage? The deluded jivan is in bondage. Who keeps it in bondage? The delusion itself keeps it in bondage. Okay, again, it is not someone else. We, like, there is a general tendency in human living to blame others for their own miseries or for our own miseries. Okay, to some extent it may be practically seen also, but simply to put all the blame on others is also not correct. Okay, my own understanding is not complete. I am in delusion is also a cause of a lot of miseries. Total silence, Divya.
Message is conveyed, sir.
Very hard-hitting sentences.
Yep. But like the answer for this question also is like it is in me only or it is in me as well as somewhere else. I'm asking.
Yeah, but Babaji is here, the author here is talking about that it is in me. Okay, then when we talk about the tradition, when everyone starts looking at me, then we actually get orderliness. Okay, right now, generally the focus is outward focus in our living. Okay, so the me aspect is only priya hit labh. Okay, ye pleasant health and profit. These perspectives are for me. Otherwise, everything else is like for others. So the understanding is incomplete in myself. This like the whole life can pass without considering this thing. Just one moment. I'm so sorry. Okay, so to the extent that I have not understood myself, okay, what are the three things to understand? Gyan wala jo paksh tha, what is the knowledge? Knowledge of the holistic view of existence, knowledge of Jivan, and knowledge of humane conduct. Okay. So till the time or to the extent these things are unclear to me, to that extent I am to blame myself for my miseries. And I think, I mean, the thought which comes to my mind is, as we progress in this direction, as our understanding develops, okay, in that stage of increased understanding, although not complete but better than the earlier one, then we stop blaming others for their misunderstanding or delusion. Then we start becoming complimentary for them also for their coming out of delusion. So the blame game stops. In delusion, blame game is what is going around. Okay. Then as we proceed on the path of awakening, then I realize that my progress has also been based on my understanding. Others' progress will also be based on their, or when they will understand. So then I want to be useful, I want to be helpful, I want to be complementary in understanding of others. Okay. And in the stage where we are in contemporary times, we cannot force others to understand. I think our role right now is to give this proposal, and there will always be people like we see in our introductory workshops. We see those who want to read and understand these books, who already have these fundamental questions in life and are waiting for the right content. Okay, so in the beginning, maybe we cannot be useful to all the 8 billion people at the same time. Those who are looking for answers, we can be helpful to them. We can play a complementary role in them. So the blame part stops. This is a big relaxation.
ठीक है सर।
भैया यहाँ पे ये जो वर्ड है ना, अनंतर,
हम्म
जीवन जागृति के अनंतर
हम्म
व्यवस्था में जीने की संभावना हर मानव में समीचीन है।
हम्म
अब अनंतर शब्द जो लिखा वो जीवन जागृति के अंतर्गत नहीं लिखा, अनंतर लिखा है। तो अगर अनंतर लिखा है तो इसकी जो इंग्लिश बनेगी वो इन द स्टेट की बजाय या तो आएगी फॉलोइंग, या आएगी सब्सिक्वेंट, या आएगी इमीडिएटली आफ्टर। ऐसा मैं देख पा रहा हूँ, क्योंकि अनंतर वर्ड जाते ही ना मेरा थोड़ा सा दिमाग में ये गया कि ये अनंतर वर्ड क्यों लिखा है।
नहीं बिल्कुल ठीक। देखिए, दो शब्द हैं बाबा जी द ऑथर यूजेस वेरी फ्रीक्वेंटली इन मध्य दर्शन। एक है पर्यंत और एक है अनंतर, है ना। तो जागृति पर्यंत भी शब्द आता है और जागृति के अनंतर भी आता है। सो दोनों का मतलब क्या निकलता है भैया? जागृति पर्यंत मतलब टिल द टाइम वन इज अवेकन्ड, सो जागृति से पहले, ठीक है। और फिर जागृति के अनंतर मतलब जागृति के बाद, ठीक है। सो जागृति इज ए पॉइंट। सो जागृति पर्यंत मतलब इससे पहले, और जागृति के अनंतर मतलब जागृत होने के बाद में। तो जागृत होने के बाद में व्यक्ति जागृति की स्थिति में ही होगा, ऐसा मेरा अनुमान बनता है। जागृत होने के बाद में ऐसा नहीं है कि उसकी स्थिति बदल जाएगी, वो कंटिन्यूअसली द पर्सन विल बी इन द स्टेट ऑफ अवेकनिंग। from that point onwards. So that point onwards, one will be in the state of awakening. So मेरे को रीडिंग में जो है in the state of awakening ज्यादा स्मूथ लग रहा है, and I
ठीक
think we are
ठीक
not diluting it. Instead of मतलब कहें after the state of awakening थोड़ा सा अटपटा सा लगता था.
ठीक। मैं एक्चुअली लिटरल मीनिंग पे चला गया,
जी
इसलिए
जी जी
अदरवाइज
जी
यू आर एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट। यस
जी
Bhaiya, just a small thing.
जी
In the last paragraph, in fear, temptation, and faith के बाद भी semicolon आना चाहिए क्या? Because the others have it. So these are like phrases, you know. So like this fear, temptation, and faith. इसके बाद semicolon and then and all the activities. So basically, comma की जगह semicolon.
What I agree. This is some challenges I face. I also sometimes feel कि क्या करूं इसका. एक मेरे को लगता है कि ऐसे लगा दें तो कैसे रहे.
हाँ, ये भी अच्छा है. This is also good, I think.
मेरे को लग रहा है कि देखिए हमने जिस तरह से इन द वे वी हैव ग्रास्प्ड इंग्लिश, वी हैव अंडरस्टूड इंग्लिश एंड ऑल दैट, लेकिन हियर आई थिंक मतलब लैंग्वेज का भी कई बार ना लिमिटेशन सा हो जाता है, सेंस अच्छे से कम्युनिकेट हो जाए. सो यू आर राइट एक्चुअली कि कॉमा लगाने से ऐसा लग रहा था कि अब ये ऑल एक्टिविटी सिर्फ फियर टेम्पटेशन फेथ की है या सबकी है. तो आई थिंक हाइफन लगा देते हैं. इट मे नॉट
नहीं
बी.
भैया, हाइफन नहीं चलेगा। हाइफन
अच्छा.
इंग्लिश में इस तरह से यूज नहीं किया जाता ना।
ओके.
हाइफन दो वर्ड्स को कनेक्ट करने के लिए तो किया जाता है ना। यहाँ पे वो सेमीकोलोन, कोलोन या कोमा ही ठीक रहेगा इन माय ओपिनियन।
एक्चुअली भैया सही, आप बोलो अच्छी इंग्लिश में एक्चुअली सही बात है, नहीं किया जाता है, बट आजकल इंग्लिश में अमूमन किया जाता है. इफ यू रीड लाइक रीसेंट लिटरेचर एंड ऑल, सो
और मेरे
स्पेशली
को लग रहा है कि हम जो बात कर रहे हैं ना यहाँ पर, मतलब इसमें काफी बारी देखो मतलब आई समटाइम्स सी, मतलब मेरे मन में ये ध्यान आता है कि बाबा जी के जब हम सेंटेंसेस को हिंदी में भी ओरिजिनली पढ़ते हैं ना, तो इट्स ए चैलेंज टू फिगर देम आउट है. मतलब उसको अगर हम हिंदी की कसौटी के ऊपर जांचें तो उसमें बहुत सारी गलतियां निकाल सकते हैं. डू यू एग्री?
हाँ हाँ बिल्कुल.
ठीक है. लेकिन 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 है क्या कि उसका जो एसेंस है ना,
जी
दैट इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट. तो कई बार एसेंस कम्युनिकेट करने के लिए यू हैव टू टेक लिबर्टीज with like where we stand as far as the linguistics और literature is concerned. तो यहाँ पर भी कंफ्यूजन ना रहे, इस हिसाब से मेरे को लग रहा है कि हाइफन से भी काम चल जाएगा. सेमीकोलन भी बहुत सारे एक सेंटेंस में आ जाते हैं ना, वो भी देख के अच्छा सा नहीं लगता भैया. एक आध तो लगा दें या जितना जरूरी है. तो यहाँ पर अभी हाइफन लगा देते हैं, बाकी बाद में देखेंगे.
तो भैया, in that case we can put an hyphen after awakening completeness. उसके बाद hyphen, then those three, main points, and then again a hyphen. I think that is how
वो
it
भी
should.
नहीं, वो भी नहीं चलेगा दीदी. मतलब वो ना, वो क्या रहता है कि अगर ये बीच वाला ना, मतलब वो सिर्फ एक्सप्लेनेशन होता ना, तब चल जाता. इसको भी
ठीक
पेंडिंग में
है,
रखते हैं, कोई
ठीक है,
है ना,
ठीक.
इसको ऐसे ही रहने. समझ आ गया ना सबको? दैट इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट.
Yes, बिल्कुल.
ठीक है.
वो भैया
तो
एक्चुअली
यस.
एज एवर मेरा वो थोड़ा सा यहाँ पे ऑल ऑफ देम, आई डोंट नो,
हाँ
पहले भी
बताइए.
लगाते हैं, मैं उसको हमेशा ही बोल देता हूँ ये जरूरत
बता
नहीं है शायद.
कहाँ
All
पे.
the activities in their permutations and combination have been
हाँ.
seen as delusion, I think should be good enough. This is generally be,
अच्छा. ओके ओके.
yeah,
हिंदी
yeah.
में क्या लिखा है? और इनके संयोग योग से जितने भी कार्यकलाप होते हैं, जितने भी होते हैं, सो ऑल ऑफ देम हटा सकते हैं. ठीक है, ये ठीक है.
And
And all the activities in their permutation and combinations have been seen as delusion. ठीक है. Good.
Sir, there की जगह like just a suggestion, all the activities in these permutations and combination, तो वो लगेगा भी कि
हाँ.
बाकी जितनी भी चीजें लिखी है उसी का conclusion हमने कर दिया.
ठीक है. ठीक है.
on the similar lines, next line also, this itself is bondage, human consciousness, dietary consciousness, divine consciousness is the progression of evidence and realization in coexistence.
ओके, अनुभव रूपी सहअस्तित्व में प्रमाण मानव चेतना, देव चेतना, दिव्य चेतना क्रम है. ओके, तो ह्यूमन कॉन्शियसनेस, डिवाइन कॉन्शियसनेस, दिस इज द प्रोग्रेशन की जगह सिर्फ इज द प्रोग्रेशन कर दे. ओके, ठीक है, आई एम गुड.
That's it.
ठीक है, आगे बढ़े. थर्ड क्वेश्चन.
मैं पढ़ लेती हूँ भैया.
जी.
वस्तु के रूप में कौन सी चीज है जो मुक्ति दिला दे? जीवन जागृति अर्थात तीनों विकसित चेतना पूर्वक स्वयं में स्वयं से स्वयं के लिए भ्रम मुक्ति पा लेता है. जीवन अस्तित्व सहज वस्तु होना सुस्पष्ट है क्योंकि मूल में संपूर्ण परमाणु वस्तु है. जीवन भी एक घटनपूर्ण परमाणु होना स्पष्ट है. मुक्ति दिला सकने वाला जीवन से भिन्न कोई वस्तु नहीं है. जीवन के लिए प्रेरक वस्तु सह अस्तित्व में स्वयं जागृत जीवन ही है क्योंकि सह अस्तित्व स्थिर है, जागृति निश्चित है. Which is the reality which liberates? Jivan by way of awakening, in other words, by way of the above mentioned three consciousness development stages, achieves liberation from delusion in itself, by itself, and for itself. It is absolutely clear that Jivan is a reality in existence because basically all atoms are realities. And it is clear that Jivan is also a constitutionally complete atom. The reality which is capable of liberating is not something else but Jivan itself. In coexistence, awakened Jivan is indeed the inspiration for Jivan because coexistence is steady and awakening is certain.
Okay, good. Thank you, Devi. So this is the answer. मुक्ति दिला सकने वाला जीवन से भिन्न कोई वस्तु नहीं है. Okay, the reality which is capable of liberating is not something else but जीवन itself. Okay, so this again is like traditionally, which is like there will be someone else who will rescue us, who will be our savior, who will be our redeemer, who will be our liberator. Here it is being proposed that yes, the guidance can come from someone else, but the effort has to be our own. Okay, so guidance can come from someone else. It is written here. Okay, in coexistence, awakened Jivan is indeed the inspiration for Jivan. Okay, जीवन के लिए प्रेरक वस्तु सह अस्तित्व में जागृत जीवन ही है. ठीक है, तो प्रेरक का काम कर सकता है, बट एवरीथिंग द अदर विल डू, दैट सुपर पावर विल डू, दैट इज टेकिंग इट टू फार. Like we have so many times discussed in our prayers also कि मैं तेरे द्वार पड़ा, मेरा उद्धार करो. Like all the responsibility we are putting on that superpower. Here the it is being proposed कि भैया मेहनत खुद ही करनी है ना. गाइडेंस एंड कंटेंट कैन कम फ्रॉम द awakened जीवन. And this is the tradition. Someone has understood something and then that understanding passes from generation to generation by humans only. And even in science also it has happened like this. Someone has discovered the laws of gravity, then one person understood it, and by tradition, generation to generation, it is getting passed on from people in each generation who understood it from the previous generation and passed on that understanding to the next generation while making use of it in their practical life and maybe increasing their own understanding. So we get something from the previous generation, from our elders, maybe improve it if in our generation we can improve it, and pass on the final product, final content to the next generation. This is the same way in awakening, in liberation. Okay, in moksha also the same thing is going to happen. It is not that some superpower will do it. मतलब ये जो है, ये बाबा जी इसको इन शब्दों में कह रहे हैं. So Jivan by way of awakening, in other words, by way of the above mentioned 3 consciousness development stages, achieves liberation from delusion in itself, by itself, and for itself. It is absolutely clear that Jivan is a reality in existence, because basically all atoms are realities. So Jivan atom is also an atom. And it is clear that Jivan is also a constitutionally complete atom. है ना, जीवन एक गठनपूर्ण परमाणु होना स्पष्ट है. The reality which is capable of liberating is not something else but Jivan itself. In coexistence, awakened Jivan is indeed the inspiration for Jivan, because coexistence is steady and awakening is certain. आगे बढ़े. कौन पढ़ेंगे?
भैया मैं पढ़ लेता हूँ.
जी जी.
वस्तु के रूप में
एक सेकंड, बस एक चीज पूछना था. स्पेंसर, आर यू स्टिल देयर इन द कॉल? नॉट
Yes,
सीन यू.
yes, I'm here.
Yes. Okay. Everything is going on well. Explanations are okay.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, I'm enjoying reading this, and I had read this once before, but even coming back, it's more clear this time around. So it's very good.
Good. Good to hear that. जी गणेश भाई आगे बढ़िए.
वस्तु के रूप में ऊपर कहे गए तीनों कहाँ हैं? अस्तित्व में ही जीवन है. जीवन अपने लक्ष्य रूपी जागृति को प्रमाणित करने के पहले भ्रमित रहता है, जैसे सही करने के पहले गलती करता है. परम जागृति जीवन का लक्ष्य है, और परम जागृति अस्तित्व में अनुभव सहज प्रमाण ही है. इस प्रकार जीवन जागृति क्रम में भ्रम बंधन को व्यक्त करता है, पीड़ित होता है, फलस्वरूप जागृत होने की आवश्यकता बनती है. इस प्रकार अस्तित्व नित्य वर्तमान, अस्तित्व में जीवनी क्रम, जीवन जागृति क्रम, जागृति और जागृति पूर्णता, अस्तित्व सहज जीवन में से के लिए संपूर्ण प्रमाण सहज क्रियाकलाप है. As reality, where are all these three?
No,
जीवन
one
is
second,
in.
one second. What is all these three? The reality which is in bondage, that was question number 1. The reality which keeps in bondage, this is question number 1. And the reality which liberates, this is the reality. Those, there are 3 realities: a reality in bondage, a reality which keeps in bondage, and the reality which liberates. Okay, so there are 3 different realities. And as far as the language is concerned, it is being talked about like this. Now here it is, as reality, where are all these 3? वस्तु के रूप में ये तीनों कहा. जी आगे बढ़िए.
जीवन is in existence only. Jivan is deluded before evidencing its goal of awakening. It is very similar to someone fumbling before learning the correct way of doing something. Absolute awakening is the goal of Jivan, as well as the evidence of realization in existence. In this manner, in the stage of awakening progression, Jivan manifests bondage of delusion, suffers due to this, and as a result, the need for awakening is felt. In this manner, existence is eternally present, and living word progression is in existence. Awakening progression of Jivan, awakening and awakening completeness, all these activities in existence are for evidence in, by, or for Jivan, which is also inseparable in existence.
बढ़िया हो गया. तो वस्तु के रूप में ऊपर गए गए तीनों चीज कहाँ है? एज रियलिटी, वेयर आर ऑल दीज 3? All these 3 are in existence, because in the first 3 questions we have seen who is to be liberated, who is in the bondage. Jivan is in bondage. Which is keeping in bondage? The Jivan itself, because it is in delusion, it is keeping itself in bondage. Then who is the liberator? The Jivan itself, after reaching the state of awakening, liberates itself. So it is the Jivan which is in, all these three things are associated with Jivan, and Jivan is in existence only. Okay, so the delusion is also in existence. Okay, awakening is also in existence. So Jivan is in existence only. Jivan is deluded before evidencing its goal of awakening. It is very similar to someone fumbling before learning the correct way of doing something. And a child starts to walk. Okay, he or she is not able to walk properly. They fumble, they fall down, they make mistakes, they hurt themselves. Eventually, they learn how to walk. Okay, same is with cycling, same is with cooking, same is with everything else in the physical world. So इसको हिंदी में ऐसा लिखा गया है, जीवन अपने लक्ष्य रूपी जागृति को या जागृति रूपी लक्ष्य को प्रमाणित करने के पहले भ्रमित रहता है। भ्रमित रहता है तो गलती करता है, जैसे सही करने से पहले गलती करता है ना। तो एक तरह से कन्वर्सेशनल लैंग्वेज में बाबा जी ने ऐसा कहा है, जैसे सही करने से पहले गलती करता है। तो इसको कह रहे हैं इट इज वेरी सिमिलर टू समवन फंबलिंग बिफोर लर्निंग द करेक्ट वे ऑफ डूइंग समथिंग। Absolute awakening is the goal of Jivan as well as the evidence of realization in existence. In this manner, in the stage of awakening progression, which is before awakening, Jivan manifests bondage of delusion, suffers due to this, and as a result, the need for awakening is felt. Okay, गलती करता है तो pain, miseries, suffering, all that is there. And the need for awakening is felt. In this manner, existence is eternally present, and living world progression in existence, awakening progression of Jivan, awakening and awakening completeness, all these activities in existence are for evidence in, by and for Jivan. जागृत पूर्णता अस्तित्व सहज जीवन में से के लिए संपूर्ण प्रमाण सहज क्रियाकलाप है। ठीक है, so now we can see before we in today's session in the early stages, before we handle these 4 questions, Babaji gave 3 paragraphs of our revision for coexistence. Okay, so everything is in coexistence. Okay, why he gave that revision? Now we see where are these 3. Everything is in coexistence. So all these 3 things are related with Jivan, and Jivan is in existence only. Existence means coexistence only. कहां पर है ये भी क्लियर हो जाता है when we close our eyes. Yes, they are in existence. We could do 4 questions today, and it will take 15-20 minutes more. Time is over. Should we close here? What do you suggest, Dev bhai? Anyone else? Close कर देना?
जी भैया, मुझे लगता है नहीं तो रश करना पड़ेगा.
Yes. I mean, we need to, like in a relaxed way, want to read it. If we do it now, we'll be rushing through it. Any comments on what we understood today? जो ध्यान गया?
So we have learned here that
it was
the
very
6
good,
question.
actually. Matlab, it was a recap of everything that we read and very fundamental questions. So very thought-provoking and hard-hitting.
The 6 question which were raised in the last reading. So we have got the answer of the first
4 questions.
4.
Yes.
And the first 3 questions being who is in bondage, who keeps someone in bondage, and who liberates. And the answer came in the form of Jivan. That is, the Jivan which is in bondage is the Jivan which remains in bondage, and it is Jivan which liberates from bondage. And where are these things? They are in existence or coexistence. So these are the answer we have got.
Yes.
With explanation. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Bhaiya.
Gratitude to the author, Shri A. Nagaraj ji. कृष्ण भाई, आप कुछ नहीं बोले आज?
जी भैया, आज थोड़ा सा जुड़ा भी लेट हूँ आज, मतलब आज कहीं जुड़ा हुआ नहीं था, आज उठा ही अभी हूँ आज
चलिए
8:30,
कोई नहीं कोई नहीं कोई
कई
नहीं।
साल कई सालों बाद।
जी जी जी।
इसी तबीयत
शैलेंद्र भाई ठीक
रात
रहा?
को लेट हुई। बढ़िया रहा भैया, लेकिन लास्ट में जितना सुना ना, वास्तव में जो बाबा जी पहले उस चीज को रखते हैं बैकग्राउंड में, और उसके बाद में जो फाइनली कंक्लूड करते हैं, गजब है भैया, गजब। और फिर हम देख पाते हैं कि कैसे भी इतना कंटेंट होने के बाद भी जो फंबलिंग होती है ना, तो देख पाते हैं। तो उससे सीखते हैं धीरे धीरे, जितना हम अभ्यास करते हैं तो हम मुक्त हो पाते हैं। तो जीवन जो बाबा जी उसको रख रहे हैं, उसका मैं जो सेंस ले पाया हूँ कि बंधन है नहीं है, हमने मान रखा है। वैसे जब तक, लेकिन वो मान्यता जब तक है तब तो वो सही सही लगती है, और जीना उसी के अकॉर्डिंग ही
We are
होता
in
है।
self bondage.
यस
Okay. And
यस।
we are self liberators also, if we realize that.
जीवन बॉन्डेज में नहीं है, जीवन हमने मान रखा है कि बॉन्डेज में।
हाँ हाँ, जब तक भ्रम में है तब तक यही मानना चलता है।
हाँ, और फिर पूरा जीना भी वैसा ही होता है, तो वो रियलिटी भी है, एक तरह से रियलिटी है।
चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं, शैलेंद्र भाई से पूछते हैं। शैलेंद्र भैया कुछ ध्यान गया आज?
हाँ हाँ भैया नमस्ते। तो वो बात चल रही थी ना हवन की,
हम्म।
तो हम जो बात कर रहे थे कि चीजें कॉन्टेक्स्ट में देखी जाती हैं तभी समझ में आती हैं, मतलब ना।
जी जी जी।
और रुकावट मेरे को वो बढ़िया हो गया, धन्यवाद इस
चलिए
पर में।
Spencer, if you can take us a couple of minutes and try to see, like being a native English speaker and being like we in India grew up with hearing and sort of depictions of Indian philosophy, but you being brought up and living in Europe and Americas, like how do you see the content and what we read today?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think it's very relevant for any person. I think you're right that the word most closely associated in English would be salvation. And it's also true that it is a more religious term. I don't think the concept, I thought about this earlier, I don't think the concept of like salvation exists in materialism, in science. There's nothing so much to be freed from or for, it's not that clear. So it's coming from the idealistic tradition, and yeah, the notion there is that this life, somehow we're trapped, we're stuck, and you can have a different story for why and where you go and what you have to do after to get there. But the basic idea is that I grew up in Christian tradition, and so the idea is that yes, this life is, you're kind of stuck here. It's not the final destination. It kind of sucks. It's not that good. You have to do your best. You have to follow some rules, and then you can achieve liberation if you follow the right rules, right? So it exists in one way or another that we are in bondage, that we are stuck, and this is not our complete form, and we need to sort of free ourselves from this place, and then the story goes that I mean, there's more layers to the story, and each religion will have a different story. Like the story of Christianity is that human being is originally sinner, and then because of Adam and Eve, and then Jesus comes and he frees you from those sins, so kind of forgives you, but you're not fully 100% forgiven because you still have to accept that he forgave you. You have to accept Jesus. So it's very complicated, many layers, and not very crisp or clear, at all, which is why it's hard to follow. And but yeah, reading this today, I really liked it. It just is put very plainly and clearly, and the way I am making sense of it after today is sort of like, we have there's in nature, there's development, progression, development, awakening, progression, awakening. There's this whole sequence of events which goes from the smallest atom all the way to undivided society. And somewhere along the way, there's one section where Jivan is there, but it's not in its full potential, you know, it's not human being is there with imagination, but not living harmoniously on the earth. So on this progression, there's one part where we find ourselves, and simply that part is called bondage, where Jivan believes itself to be body, and the bondage is stuck in just trying to be happy through the senses. So yeah, you don't need to put another entity or another world or a different god in it. It's just the part of the natural progression. And I really like like what he says, we're fumbling, you know, it's like thinking it's kind of like we're in this, like the toddler stage, you know, we're maybe like 3-4 years old and we're just cannot walk properly. So I mean, obviously you don't want to be in bondage, but it is a natural part of existence as well, you know, it's just the stage before awakening. So I really liked it. It was really, and translation is great. So
Yeah. You know, like one thing which as soon as you mentioned, my attention went, मेरा ध्यान गया उस तरफ, that you know, so far in science, I mean, I'm basically in engineering, but in engineering profession, I studied engineering. So it is said that like many things that they happen randomly. Okay, like evolution, you know, genetic mutations, and you know, things like that. A lot of philosophies are, a lot of scientific approaches are on mutations or by randomness. Things happen. Here in Madhya's version, the way Babaji has said is, we can see how historically, since the beginning of time, if we can think of anything at any time previously, to the extent where we can go back, from there till now, we can understand the whole journey of this existence, including humans, and and we can sort of interpolate it to the journey in future. Okay. So on this earth, the three orders, the other three orders, they are in a mature state. It is the humans which are in that process of evolution. They have emerged on this planet, but as far as the mental evolution part is concerned, the mental understanding part is concerned, we are in that toddler state. We are in the infancy stage. So all the different religions, be it Christianity, be it Islam, be it Hinduism, or many other religions, they are all attempts in that direction, where eventually the humankind will understand everything. And then that understanding will get passed on from generation to generation. Okay. All the efforts in the absence of the understanding, they look to be contradictory to each other, but the effort in all of them is the right living. So we will eventually get there. Okay, and once we look ourselves as Jivan, then it is free from time also. Then we do not look it in the context of the 70, 80, or 90 years we'll spend on this earth. Okay. So understanding coexistence, I think the more time I spent delving on these things, you know, like the association with body, you know, that also we are able to clearly see. I am personally able to clearly see and understand it is not permanent. The body will go away. I will remain.
Body has the age, but Jivan has no age.
Yes.
It's written in one of the books, Samvad by Babaji.
जी जी बढ़िया देव भाई, कंप्लीट करें सेशन को, रैप अप करें.
हाँ जी भैया.
जी, thank you very much. Thanks everyone for joining. See you on 16th February, same time. Namaste.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste to everyone. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.